Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Google Workspace Recap, a Tab Geeks Network show. Each week we take you everything announced by Google Workspace, discussing the updates of the week and other relevant news and announcements. My name is Jesse Nolan, my co-host is Steve Larson, and we're here to help you keep up. The moment you've all been waiting for, we have an update on GSuite Legacy. Sort of. We'll get to that in a bit. Also, reminder, coming up on the 12th is our live Google Chrome browser and managed browser update. We've got the link in the show notes. Whether you're on YouTube or on the podcast side, they will be down below, or you can always go to our website, workspacerecap.com, check out the show notes, and all of the links are in there. So, how's it going, Steve?
Well, it's good. You missed, I think, 2 words in the intro there.
Did I?
Missed it. I'm not sure if you did. Yeah, you forgot to say we take you through everything announced. You just said we take you, like, I don't know, you missed a couple
Could
words.
be. I thought I might have stumbled at some point there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to do it, by rote instead of reading it every week. So
we're going to have a retake there, but I think, just leave it. I'll just mention it.
It's been an insane day, by the way. I started this day at 7:30 this morning.
Yeah.
Never took a break. It just was nonstop. I don't know what was up with today's Monday. Usually Tuesday is my busiest day because everyone gets back to the office on Monday, does what they need to do, and then realizes, oh shit, some of this stuff doesn't work, and then they start sending it over to IT and say, hey, can you come and fix these things? And that's usually on Tuesday when we get really busy. Today was just back to back to back. I was on 3 calls simultaneously. It was ridiculous. So.
Three's a lot.
I'm a little wired.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed though about the G Suite Legacy update. In fact,
yeah,
I'm actually very
damn it, Google,
upset about it. Well, the reason why is because they're saying something that isn't actually, like, it's already out. It's already available. They're saying, what they've added in here. They've added this big section, and it's called the, is there a no-cost option if I don't want to upgrade section? And it just got added sometime between the 2nd and the 4th because I did a Wayback Machine snapshot on the 2nd, and it wasn't there then. So I know it happened between this morning and on the 2nd when I did the snapshot. So I've done another snapshot today. So we have a kind of a record of that. And essentially what it's saying is a no-cost option will be available for customers who do not want to use Gmail with their custom domain or the ability to manage multiple users. Well, a no-cost option is available now, and you can manage users with it. And it's called Cloud Identity. And I don't understand why they're not telling customers about this option. If this was an announcement to say, hey, we've come out with this amazing low-cost option for small businesses and families that, don't want to pay it, $6 a month per user, that would have been a great announcement. But saying that something new is coming that has less features than what's already available right now, I don't get it. I don't understand I really don't understand this whole communication.
Not to mention it's all taking place in a help article.
Right. I was checking all of my legacy domains. Not one of them have ever received a notification. Not one of them shows it in the admin console.
Same.
Not one email from Google about this. Nothing.
We did see on one of the Reddit posts that somebody had an email.
Sure,
but I haven't seen anybody else post screenshots. How many legacy accounts do you have? I've got 3.
I think
you probably have 12, knowing you.
No, I wish I had shut down one or upgraded one, and I couldn't.
Yeah, I lost a few over the years.
I think I still have 3 active ones, and they all point to the same backup account email, of which received the notification. And even in the admin console, when I go to the licenses page, it just says you should consider upgrading to Workspace. Not that you have to. Not even a notification about this change.
Nothing required. Just think about it.
No, exactly. So, it's just is a really poorly managed communication around this change. A lot of information now in the help article, but you have to be lucky enough to be hearing about this and not be one of those unlucky admins who just doesn't follow the Google communities of chatter and stuff. And if you're not if you didn't get the email, you're probably going to be a little bit surprised in the following weeks about this.
Yep, absolutely. And you know what? Maybe that's what they're going for. It does kind of feel like they're trying to sneak this by everybody. And I don't know. I feel like it's time for a noise campaign. Everybody write your senator, and by that I mean Javier,
I mean, just
so
tweet.
that
Yeah.
just tweet at Javier, and tell him how frustrated we are about all of this. I mean, it's also weird the option that they have here. I mean, yes, they're doing it because you can retain access to paid content such as movies and storage and whatnot, and they do address storage later on. But the thing that's bizarre about this is it's like, all right, so you will have this new low cost option or no cost option, uh, but you have to join a waiting list. But the waiting list isn't available yet. You have to look for it in your console. And when you join it, then your account won't be automatically upgraded to Workspace, but the new low or no cost option isn't available yet. So when it becomes available, your account will then be transitioned to it, and you'll have 60 days to decide if you want to stay on it or if you want to upgrade to Workspace proper. So I'm thinking, all right, hey, more time, great. Let's use this time to storm the castle. Now we don't have to worry about the deadline because it's just going to be when this thing goes live, which presumably will be after the cutover. At least I think it would be. I imagine so. And then when the time comes, you still have 2 months to make that decision, which means we have probably a few more months now to continue or to start really a campaign against Google and say, hey, come on. Like this, we're telling you exactly what we want. We're willing to pay for it. I don't have to rehash this or recap this to stay on brand. Everybody knows. Everybody in the audience knows what the pain point is here. I don't get it.
Yeah, and there's settings within, let's say, for example, the reseller console to put caps on the number of licenses for a SKU. So, the functionality is there for Google to say, hey, this is a, Google personal account
Right.
license with a 10 user maximum or a 5, whatever it is, 5 user maximum, 6 user maximum, whatever they want to come up with.
Right.
And limit the number of users and, limit support, for example. That's fine. We can use community
Sure.
support. We don't need enterprise, we don't need chat support or phone support, anything like that.
Everyone can send their questions to us.
No, please don't. I mean, not those kind of questions. Oh no, we were talking about this actually on the community advisory forum for Workspace last month, I think. And we had the Googlers on that were managing that community of people that support all the different products and explaining why or what the differences were between the questions being asked over there versus questions being asked in Google Cloud Community, and how to try to differentiate those two platforms and direct people to the maybe more appropriate location. And we were very adamant about not wanting to be answering all those questions that we see over in the help community, because
there's a huge benefit to an experts exchange.
There is, and that's exactly what that is. That's exactly what that community is there, and the people there that are answering those questions, do an amazing. They do something that I would never want to be able to do. So, kudos to them for doing what they do and how many responses that they have on their profiles, for example, to these questions. It's pretty unbelievable, but just not the kind of questions that myself and quite a few others want to be answering on a regular basis. But kind of enough said about that topic. I just wish they would come out with a solution here that matches what people are asking for, matching what people need.
Yeah.
So.
And it seems like all of the infrastructure is there. It can't be that hard. It's Google, for crying out loud. Come on.
Yeah. So, well, that's the
update.
That's the
Sorry,
update
we don't have
GSuite.
better news, folks.
Yeah. Still trying
Hopefully the next update.
Still trying to find someone within the Google team to kind of talk about this, see if we can do some more digging. We're trying to still get that to happen, but so far no luck on that. No one wants to talk about it. That seems to be the problem,
Get that Twitter campaign going, folks, before Elon Musk buys out the entire platform.
You know what? I mean, that was something else I didn't realize how much this other Reddit community grew. The GSuite Legacy Migration subreddit is like 1.2 thousand users in a matter of like a month or so. that is how big the G Suite community was when I joined 3-4 years ago.
Now you're at what, 8,000?
Well, no, 13, 14.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's grown. But that 1.2 thousand took many years for it to get to there. I think from
Right.
the time it began, and this one, subreddit now in Legacy is up to 1.2 thousand. So
Well, the two most popular blog posts on TabGeeks are the drive migration hack that I came up with years ago,
right,
and very close second is what the hell is happening with G Suite Legacy
really,
Free. Yeah,
okay,
by a mile, by the way. It's
yeah,
not even a contest.
yeah,
So obviously people are out there. Obviously people are seeing it. Obviously people are searching about it. And
yeah.
unfortunately, it looks like Google is just trying to push it all under the rug and shut us up or something. I don't know. Not shut us up,
Just
but they're certainly
no,
not
just
talking about it.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm seeing some serious hate from people online about this. Like, well, screw you, Google. Like, this is the last straw. I'm never doing anything Google.
yeah.
I will choose an alternative at every, for everything I possibly can or whatever. And, that's almost exactly a quote from what that person was saying. I may have tamed it down a little bit. So, but hey, if anything, we bought ourselves some more time with this announcement. So,
Yep.
start the fight. All right, what are we talking about this week?
Well, we have 4 updates on from the Workspace Updates blog, and then we have a couple application updates. GCDS got updated, and the first update in almost 2 years to GWSMO also occurred this last week. Like the last update on GWSMO was 2020, so we got just a very innocuous best security practices implemented update. Not really sure what that is. And then other topics that we have that occurred this week. Well, should I go through the 4 updates? I'll get to those in a second. I didn't say them. No, the 4. Let me run through those 4. So the first one we have is improved announcements for Braille comments and highlights available in Google Docs on the web. Speaking of kind of like Braille or visually impaired updates, I was just seeing some advertisements for a credit debit card that has different notch kind of shapes in the corner, so you can figure out which is your debit, which is your credit, and which is, I don't know, some other 3
Very
different types.
nice.
So yeah, I can't remember if that was Capital One or someone like that, but it's on all of the streaming advertisement shows I've been watching recently. So
a lot of work being done in those areas. I always thought it was fascinating that the currency in Israel, the cash, like the money, which
different
is the
sizes,
new
right?
Israeli
Different size
shekel,
bills.
is exactly as different sizes.
Yeah.
And some of them even feel different textures as well.
Yeah.
They're also different colors depending on if you're colorblind or not and whatnot. But that was always something that I had heard a lot about, that people were very impressed with that.
Yeah, there's a few countries that do different size bills, and I can't remember who else does that.
Not the U.S.
No, and I don't think the euros are different sizes. I think those are similar. They might be different.
I don't know. It's been a while.
Use the euros, yeah.
Yeah, damn COVID.
Composing, and so the next update we have here is composing with Markdown and Google Docs on the web. I saw some comment on one of the communities is that, well, all 4 people that wanted that should be happy.
Yet on Twitter, I saw I don't know, dozens of people shouting, "I'm probably the only person that is so excited that this is launching," and there was dozens of them shouting that. So apparently, some people like this.
I'm sure there's a few
developers
people.
And security folks.
I don't know. I mean, you're already in your WYSIWYG editor, and you've got your keyboard for Command B and everything already there. Like, I don't know.
Well, the Markdown community is strong.
I guess.
Don't knock it.
Yeah. Next, we have stronger data security and privacy with Google Workspace client-side encryption, going GA for Drive, Docs, Sheets, and Slides. And then finally, to round out the updates, we have more assistive writing suggestions in Google Docs. So mostly a lot of usability enhancements this week for the most part, and just one one announcement that is something we talked about already and it's just gone GA. So kind of a relatively quiet week in terms of announcements there on the Workspace front. With GCDS, there were some new features added. So GCDS being Google Cloud Directory Sync, had 2 new features added to it, and then quite a few fixes of issues. So feel free to dive into the release notes for that and learn a bit more. Just some added SKUs to default license types, it looks like, and then some added the version number to the Windows tile. Pretty minor new features there. And then, as I said, with GWSMO, that first release in almost 2 years, some best security practices being implemented into the tool, whatever those are. And then in terms of other things that we've been seeing this week in the news, we already talked about G Suite Legacy and how that is fast approaching. And then, of course, I actually put this in the show notes prior to seeing the change on, let's say, Sunday. I put this in there, I think, on Friday or Saturday. But also ChromeOS 100. So that's just the text here. ChromeOS 100 is finally out on stable channel to everyone, I believe. It was on, I think, Chrome browser for a little while. Now it's on ChromeOS, so it's out there across all the platforms. And again, speaking about Chrome and the Chrome browser, we are having that first quarterly event next week with Alex on Tuesday on YouTube Live. So keep an eye out for that. We have also the GCP Data Cloud Summit registration link, so you can join that and participate. That is coming up pretty soon. Probably by the time you hear this, it'll be happening tomorrow. So it happens April 6th, and there's an EMEA landing page as well for that. So I think there's two main agendas. And then finally, an announcement on the Google Cloud blog page regarding collaboration, communication, and some of the features on voice and meetings, things like that. So Google Voice call recording is finally available. And
finally.
then Google Meet is adding desktop picture-in-picture functionality. I haven't seen that, but that sounds pretty cool. So that's our agenda for this week's episode. So we'll dive into those updates here in just a sec.
Yeah, there's quite a bit in that blog post talking about communication and collaboration. Some of it has been announced already, and I'm just like, will you quit talking about it and release it already?
Yeah. It's a lot of press around it.
Yep.
All right, so diving into those updates, we first talked about improving announcements for Braille comments and highlights available in Google Docs on the web. So there is, I just find it interesting. It's not, I don't know, it's kind of funny, right? It's a feature for those that are visually impaired, but of course the feature is off by default, and you have to go to Tools, Accessibility, and turn on Braille support in order to use it. So it's like, how do you turn it on? It's like, you got to go ask your, not.
Is there a keyboard shortcut for all of this?
Ask your not visually impaired friend to can you turn this new great feature on, please, for me?
No, man.
It's kind of ironic, I think, a little bit.
It'd be nice if they just had a direct keyboard shortcut for it. It's like, all right, hit, Command KL5 at the same time and open it up.
Well, okay, so there is turn on Braille support for doc editors. There is. So on Windows and ChromeOS, it is Control Alt H, and on Mac it is Command Option H. So that is how you would turn it on. So I think that's the best update, or the best information on this update, is how to turn it on with those keyboard shortcuts. So let all of your Braille friends know that's the keyboard shortcuts.
I was close with my guess.
Yeah. So rollout for this one, there is 2 different rollout plans. Rapid release domains will get this on a full rollout with 1 to 3 days for feature visibility. It started March 29th, so that should be out there to everyone. And then schedule release domains that will start on the 11th of April on a full rollout with 1 to 3 days for feature visibility there. So pretty quick rollouts once they come to your corresponding domains. And available to all Workspace customers as well as the legacy G Suite Basic and Business customers. G Suite Legacy. One thing that was actually speaking, kind of going back to our G Suite Legacy topic, and just thinking about, talking about what licenses and SKUs, whatever these features are available on. We had not documented what functionality you get with Cloud Identity Free versus Cloud Identity Premium licenses. So in that SKU comparison document, that spreadsheet that many of you all know, that is now pretty popular, Brian Kim kind of went ahead and built the one that is, its current form. He did the majority of the work there, based on I think he had used the one that I had created before that as a kind of the foundation. But anyways, he basically did all the work in this new one. I've added in a new column for the Cloud Identity Free license type, and been going through trying to document features and functionality on what you can do with Cloud Identity accounts compared to other licensed accounts, and been finding some very interesting, unusual quirks about it. So one thing that I've noticed in terms of, let's say, drive labels, and also drive approvals. So drive labels, if you are a Cloud Identity user and you are a document owner, so this of course is in My Drive because you can only be a viewer in shared drive. That's another kind of, that's a documented limitation of Cloud Identity. But so for those documents that you own in My Drive, you cannot access and add labels to that file, nor can someone who has an enterprise or an account that has access to labels add labels to it. However, you can access a document that's owned by someone else, or is in a in a shared drive you can't edit it, so you can't apply labels. But let's say in My Drive, someone else owns a file and you're an editor, you can interact with labels and use those labels and assign labels to that document. And same thing with approvals. You can be the recipient of a document approval, but you can't, request document approvals from anyone. So
as a Cloud Identity user?
Correct, as a Cloud Identity user, yes.
Interesting.
And other things with Google Meet, you can only join Google Meet events. You can't, of course, create them because you don't have calendar. You don't have access to initiate a whiteboarding session, so create a Jamboard through the Meet activities dialog screen, but you have access to Jamboard. So if someone else creates it during the meeting, you can of course collaborate on that Jamboard, but you just can't start the whiteboard and ping everyone automatically in the meeting, and you can't start the recording of an event, even though you're another person within the domain, and you're just a participant. You can't initiate recording on that like other users can, even if they are, even if host controls and stuff would allow anyone to do it, and within the domain you can't as an in-domain user. So putting together all of those notes, trying to get through everything and identify that, because that will definitely help, with this G Suite Legacy migration, to see if, in some cases, does Cloud Identity work for me as an organization or me as a domain? Can I get by with that as a solution and maybe do email and calendar somewhere else?
Right, throw email in there and I'll be sold.
Yeah, well, that's
limited
groups.
enough to sell it, right? Well, you could use groups,
Yeah, and that was the other thing too. I was just testing, what does it look like from the groups interface? Can I send as the group? Yes, you can send as the group. It's just you have full, Drive groups for business functionality, and you would just need, either an account that could receive emails as a member of that group to actually receive it, or you just check the group, periodically for new messages, and do something like that. So yeah, so getting through that's kind of my kind of project for tomorrow, to kind of finish that off and get through all the different applications and services and see how that looks.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
We should dump the link in the show notes for that yet again.
Yes, I will. So let's see. I'll grab the link for the comparison. Make sure I don't forget to add that. And there we go. It is in there.
It's in the show notes, folks.
So next update we have is that composing with Markdown, available in Google Docs on the web. So all of those, great asterisks before and after, or brackets, or everything you want to do to kind of do some basic formatting with different characters before and after text. You can now start to do that with being able to enable Markdown. So go to the Tools menu and Preferences, enable auto-correcting for Markdown syntax, and that will give you the ability to use Markdown. And it's on an extended rollout, potentially longer than 15 days for feature visibility. Started the 29th of March, and that will be for both rapid release and scheduled release domains. And it's available to everybody. Available to everybody. I feel like I should just be playing that song. Everybody. Yeah. All right. Stronger data security and privacy with Google Workspace Clientside Encryption is now GA for Drive, Doc Sheets, and Slides. So a very long, talked about functionality. It changed, mid alpha. There were, as part of the alpha program, probably over about 4 years ago, I would say, and it just kind of abruptly stopped, and they transitioned how they were going to be handling this client-side encryption approach, and now it's available. You can enable this if you are on the right license type. It's available to Enterprise Plus and Education Plus customers. But not only does it require that, but it also requires a key access service provider like FlowCrypt, Fortanix, Futurex, Storm Shield, Thales, or Virtue. And each of those partners have some pre-built tools that kind of align with Google specifications. Or, if you don't want to use them, you can decide to build your own key service implementation using the API specifications. What would be great is if Google could have like an open source client-side encryption service, kind of like what they did with some of the other GitHub projects they have. I'm trying to think of the one like Chrome Grab and Go, for example. They have a whole application there that they have open sourced and given to the community, so you can run that on your own. It'd be nice to be able to do that as well through like an open source service. Maybe there's some out there already. Maybe there already are some open source key service implementations that use Google specifications, or maybe there will be some.
That'd make a good video demoing some of those open source things like Grab and Go.
Yes, yeah.
I'll add that to my production list.
Yeah. So it looks like there are some KMS services out there. I don't know if that's the right ones. I mean, HashiCorp, I think, has Vault. I just don't think that they're leveraging some of these Google APIs for it just yet. But maybe that, and there's Tatum KMS, Key Management Service. So perhaps it just needs some feature request, pull request, or something like that from the open source community to build in some support here for the Google Docs APIs. Be nice to see that on those services. So so there's a little article, or not article, there's a video here that talks about client-side encryption, how that works, and of course this is pretty specific industries that this applies to. So those ITAR and CGIS regulations for confidential data. And of course, if you're also super paranoid, you'd probably be wanting to run your own key management service as well. So all the better reason to open source something so you can run it yourself. Do we talk about the rollout? So rollout on this one, rapid release and scheduled release domains will start getting this on the 31st of March. It's on a gradual rollout for up to 15 days for feature visibility. And as I said, it is only available for those Enterprise Plus and Education Plus customers, not available to anybody else. Pretty limited from that perspective. And then last update we have, it came out with a little red update notice here. So if you were looking at this on Thursday, the 31st, there is an update that came a couple days later. So be sure to check back on this article if you thought you read it on Thursday. It has changed. But this is more assistive writing suggestions in Google Docs. And these new features are going to provide, of course, some more ways that you can get some assistance here from Google. Things like word choice, active voice, consciousness, more conscious phrases. I think that's what it's saying there, right? Yeah. Or conciseness. I was like, I knew I was getting that wrong. I'm getting it wrong. I know I'm gonna get it wrong. More concise phrases. Yes. I'm like, God, why would I be trying?
I glanced over at the notes. I was like, huh?
How conscious you are. All right. Conciseness. More concise phrases. And some inclusive language there, and also word warnings. So reconsidering potentially inappropriate words. So for some of us, that might be popping up more so than others.
Putting Grammarly out of business over here.
Yeah. So from an admin perspective, it's going to be on by default. It can be turned off in the admin console for eligible Workspace Education editions. In the coming weeks, there will be we'll introduce admin controls for remaining eligible Workspace editions. And otherwise, this feature will be on by default. It can be disabled by the end user. And when typing in docs, these are kind of indicated with purple underlines. So a little different than what we, I think, currently see with some of the blue ones. And in terms of rollout pace for this one, it's a little different rollout pace for each of these rapid release and scheduled release ones. So rapid release, we'll see that on a gradual rollout up to 15 days, which started on the 31st of March. Scheduled release domains, see this starting the 14th of April on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for feature visibility there. And in terms of feature availability across the SKUs, there is a little differentiation between these here. So most of these features, other than word warnings, so word choice, active voice, conciseness, and inclusive language, is available on Business Standard, Business Plus, Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, and Education Plus domains. And then word warnings is also available to all of those domains, as well as Education Fundamentals, Education Standard, Education Plus, and the Teaching and Learning Upgrade SKUs there. So not available, neither of these are available to the nonprofits, the Essentials, Business Starter, Enterprise Essentials, and yeah, those lower tier SKUs. So you got to have at least Business Standard on the Business Enterprise side of things to get this. And that wraps up the updates for this week. Those are the 4 on those blog posts. We mentioned the GCS update that was released March 29th, along with a bunch of fixes there. GWSMO released on the 31st of March. And then, Jesse, we've got a few other topics here. I think, yeah, I'm going to say all 3 of these that we have are yours, as usual. Yep. You'd like to do the other topics of the week, which is great. Gives you something to do, so.
You know. I'm sitting here falling asleep. You know, your voice is just monotone and lulling me to sleep.
Yeah,
it's only like midnight for you, so I feel bad. But we should really start recording earlier. Except I have to put my kids to bed. So, yeah. So we already talked about the other topic here that Steve didn't include in his count of 3 is our GSuite legacy starts shutting down. So we all know about that. We're not going to go through that. ChromeOS 100. This one is an interesting one because, I mean, Chrome is amazing. We all love it, or many of us do anyway. It debuted, apparently, a new launcher for all of your apps, aka Start Menu, and it redesigned it and moved it over to the left. So Windows 11 redesigned the Start Menu, shrunk it down, and moved it to the center, and Google went, no, we're going to go the other direction, shrunk it down, and moved it to the left. But on my Asus CX9, updated to version 100, no new launcher. So I don't know what's going on there. They said it rolled out to basically all devices. It was supposed to come with the OS or with the update, and nowhere to be found on my side, which is very disappointing because I was really looking forward to that. For the first time, you're able to actually rearrange the apps that show up in the launcher. They're building some more amazing search capabilities into it, apparently. It's apparently getting easier and better presenting of information. Um, it's really just like the next step forward for the OS, where the full screen launcher kind of felt like a direction of going towards iPad OS, a touch tablet interface that really didn't have much of a place even on touchscreen Chromebooks, in my opinion. And even though I have a touchscreen Chromebook and I've had one for forever, I don't really use it all that much. Occasionally, if I'm on a plane, I'll put it in tent mode or things like that. Sure, I'll use it. Or occasionally, if I'm in cramped spaces, I'll use my hands to scroll on the screen. But I don't really use the touchscreen that much. Let us know. Maybe you guys do. Perhaps that's more of a necessity for you. But I think that headed in this direction as the OS continues to mature, I think that moving or remodulating the start menu, or the launcher as we call it, to a more traditional setup is a better move. And of course, just like any traditional Chromebook, if you hit the everything button, which is caps lock for the uninitiated, it will launch it just like normal. Apparently, there's a couple of other big features in there. The ability to make edits with your voice, so dictation. Now you can also edit it, so you can say delete to delete the last letter or move to next character to adjust where your cursor is on the screen. Or if you're not sure what command to use, you can say help, and Chromebook will give you ideas. So anybody who's a big fan of dictation, go and check that out and try it. And the more fun or possibly useful when you're setting up help articles, you can create your own GIFs or GIFs for the fun people in the audience. We can debate that at a later time. You're able to create, I think it's a 10-second clip there, GIF, that of course they use a puppy in there to make it waving, to make it appealing to everybody, because, well, who doesn't love puppies? I'm sure there are some, but most people like puppies. So go and check that out. If you haven't already, update your Chromebook and let us know if there are any other devices that didn't get the redesigned launcher, because I'm feeling a little left out over here, to be honest. I really want the new launcher. I like everything all new and shiny, which is part of the reason why we do this. We're always up to date and always looking at the new things, and I simply didn't get it. So what the heck, man? All right, moving on. Next, as Steve said at the top of the episode, April 6th at 9 a.m. is the Google Data Cloud Summit. As it happens to be with a number of these, it might be a little salesy, but there's usually a good amount of solid information that you can gain from these, learn from other customers, learn what's going on. The keynote is Unify Your Data for Limitless Innovation, and that's got some big CIOs in there from Vodafone, and director of ML platforms from Wayfair, and of course some Google Cloud folks. And then they have a live Q&A on there, and a whole bunch of other sessions here that I'm not going to go into, including sessions from Walmart, ING Group, Forbes, and lots of others. So if you're interested in that side of the business, the data cloud side of things, go and check that out. It's just called the Google Data Cloud Summit, and of course we will have a link for that in our show notes. And there is also an EMEA page, as Steve. Wow, I haven't called you Steven like ever. As Steve mentioned, blah, blah, blah. My wife's uncle is Steven, so, but even him I call Steve. So I don't know. It's getting late. We will have the links to that in the show notes, of course. And then the last major one here. Oh, I see Steve snuck another one in there on me. The last one that we had here previously is the blog post that we talked about at the top of the episode here. A whole bunch of things in here. Some of them, like we said, rehashes of before, such as the ability to launch a meet from directly in the dock, or threaded spaces, things like that. And apparently there are people out there Dominic, who don't like the idea of creating a threaded conversation in spaces similar to Slack and some of the othreads out there because, well, I guess they think that it makes it more confusing. I personally am a huge fan of the way that they are setting it up here. It's the one thing that I think it's really been missing to transform it into a really powerful async collaboration platform. And even not just necessarily async, but also just to help the conversations flow better. Steve and I have talked about on this show in the past are difficulties in creating threads, and even when they made them threads, you can't search threads, and I don't know if that's going to roll out with this as well, but this is another step forward to be able to make it a lot more functional as a easy to use conversational platform. So that one is definitely coming. Some of the things that we're finally seeing come to light are emoji reactions in Google Meet. So the GIF that they have here that shows how it works, it actually looks pretty cute, pretty straightforward, very hokey, homey, similar to how Google does their things. They got little animations on each of the video tiles of what emoji each person is choosing. So good stuff coming there, and that's under the more inclusive and secure hybrid meetings banner. So
yeah, I gotta jump back here to the threading comment you made. I mean, I am watching the animation here of saying how they're improving how conversations are displayed with inline threading. I completely disagree.
Why? What do you disagree about?
This is just this is what I hate about Slack. This is what I love about
Why?
Spaces is that I can see the entire conversation happening. I don't have to click into something to see it.
Yeah, but there's usually multi-topic conversations happening in a group or a
That's what a new
team,
thread
and
is
it
for.
just
That's what a new thread is
but
for.
it gets very hokey very
Doesn't.
fast, and then you can't.
Doesn't. That's the great thing about Spaces and how it's so much better, and it's so much easier to follow. You can see everything that's being communicated. You don't have these hidden side conversations that you don't get notified about if you haven't commented and make a comment to say, oh, following. It's so annoying, and I lose so much information with this type of implementation of threads that I hate it. I really hate it.
Interesting.
I
You don't
I
think it's still going to
ignore
show as unread?
I
Oh, you're
ignore
saying you're
so many
missing the
things.
notification on it.
Well, I just not the notification. I just don't see it. It's out of sight, out of mind. I don't look at it. If
Interesting.
I just don't read threaded conversations. If I'm not reading it, if I'm not scrolling and reading it, I'm not clicking into it because I don't have
You don't think
time.
that you will still get a notification that there's a conversation happening in there?
I don't know. I don't think so. You're not gonna get. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's hard to
Doubt
tell
it.
from this. I'm looking at the screenshot now that you're talking about. It is difficult to
And
tell
I don't want to click
how
into it.
that's going to be implemented.
I don't want to click into it. I want to see that conversation happening in the main thread that has been created for whatever topic in the thread in the space that we're talking about. And that's why you create, if it's important enough to talk about and in a lot of messages, then it's important enough to make a new thread for.
Interesting.
That's my thought on it.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have to see
And
how
if
they
it's
roll this
not,
out.
if it's not important and you shouldn't, then don't be communicating about it off, on a side little chat.
Why not? I mean, that's what these rooms are for, right? Is having conversations.
Most of the time it could just be not important, but most of the time it is important. So then create the thread for it. Create the actual thread about what's being discussed, or just keep talking about it in the main thread.
Are they doing away with threads with this? Is threads being transformed?
I hope it's still going to be. I can't remember
because I'm looking at this
happening.
I'm looking at this shot, and it doesn't look like there are what you would normally see as a thread on here.
That's what I'm really worried about.
I think threads are changing to the more Slack style because, quite honestly, I mean, in my day-to-day, it is a lot more natural to have somebody make a comment and then it evolves or somebody realizes, hey, there's a lot more to this and replies in a thread. I'd love to be able to just automatically.
I've been using Slack long enough and Spaces long enough to know that the Spaces implementation is so much better for the way that I work, for sure.
Interesting.
This is one of the reasons why I despise using Slack, is because of the way threads work.
So I don't even use Slack on a professional level. I use it for our Tab Geeks community, and I'm in a couple of other communities as well. And for just general conversation, it's great. But I am
Not
curious
with
from your
threads.
experience in terms of
Not with threads. It's
yes
not.
with threads.
Nope. It is not. It is not.
Conversation very quickly gets chaotic if you don't have threads, because then you have people responding to other
It's
people, and then you can't tell what goes to what conversation. Whereas this organizes it.
I don't know. Uh, the GAM space is great.
Yeah, but that's
We've
very very regulated. You can only talk about that topic in that
you
topic
no
thread.
no we have new topics every time something new gets posted there, and there's a new thread that's hey, here's my question, let's talk about that, and
Yeah,
it's you get a new thread for
but
every
that's
main topic.
QA, and it is extremely topical. This is following the more organic
It's,
conversation approach.
yeah,
Maybe they'll have an
yeah,
option. Maybe it'll be you
I
can
hope
have
so.
this one or that one. You have
I hope
the
it.
traditional threads as we all see them now, and then Slack like threads. Or one of the articles I read also called it Discord threads. Wasn't Slack there first with those? I don't know. Perhaps it's just whichever they were using first. Anyway, other interesting stuff in this article. We can continue to debate this longer. Perhaps we'll do a live event debating it with people who are better at debating than I am. Lots of other updates here. Increasing the team size limits to 8,000, which will eventually become 25,000 in Spaces. So trying to get that big community thing going on there. Kind of starting to feel like circles and currents all over again, a la Google Plus from back in the day. Hopefully, it doesn't die the same fiery, pathetic death that the other ones did, just being slowly shut down and roped into other products. So, hopefully, better luck here. Um, and then an update on Google Voice, which I have been shocked to this day that they haven't had call recording. Call recording is finally launching and coming on-demand call recording to Google Voice Standard and Premier subscribers next month. And quite frankly, this is one of the number one reasons why, as COVID was hitting, I did not go with Google Voice and we switched to Ring Central. We had already started migrating to Google Voice, and then we realized we need call recording. And I had thought it was going to show up much earlier than it did. And maybe COVID was a big part of that. Maybe they pulled engineers over to the Google Meet team and to the Gmail team and whatnot. But it's finally here. So good stuff there. And that's the major big updates in here, I believe. But there are still some more stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
You
there's
should
some other
definitely
big
look through,
announcements here
read
with
through the
Google
whole article.
Voice. Yeah, there's some other big announcements with Google Voice there about introducing SIP link and
Mm-hmm.
integrations there with SIP trunks.
Well, I feel like that was already announced also.
Yeah. Okay. They just
Well, they've
said
been
later
doing
this.
interoperability work all for the last several months. So
Yeah. Well, it said this says in this article here, it says later this year we'll introduce SIP link. So
right.
that's part of this article, and um, enabling customers to kind of manage carrier provided numbers alongside Google provision numbers directly within the admin console.
Good stuff. And
Oh, and including European land or mobile numbers are included in call costs as well.
feeling some love for the Europeans. Awesome.
Yeah. Before that was an extra cost to call mobiles.
Mm-hmm. And the last one that you snuck in here was ChromeOS Flex is now in beta instead of early release. What do you want to talk about there, Steve?
Just the email, that I received. I think it was this morning, or this afternoon. And if you had signed up on the ChromeOS Flex page, I believe this would have triggered the email to be sent to you today. ChromeOS Flex is now available on the beta channel. So, and it's also available on over 100 more verified devices. And then there's a few other enhancements as well, where you can view more information about your enrolled ChromeOS Flex device in the admin console, fix some boot issues on a number of devices, including the Dell Latitude, the XPS, the iMac 1212, and the Zotac device. Also, some microphone issues fixed on some Dell Latitude laptops, and improved support for Linux containers across more devices. So, keep watching the ChromeOS Flex updates, because that is, getting more and more things up. More and more things are being updated to it over these next few weeks, as it rolls probably out to stable at some point in the near future.
Yeah, they are not standing still or sitting still on this one. They're really moving. So That's exciting. Good stuff. I saw a Mac Pro in the office earlier today. I was like, I should put Chrome Flex on there. See what kind of a monster that thing is to run. Fully loaded, dual graphics cards, the whole 9 yards. Should be fun. All right, and once again, just a reminder, April 12th is going to be our Google Chrome and Managed Browser Quarterly Update. That's going to be live on YouTube, 10 a.m. Pacific Time, and G Suite Legacy, Steve was typing, start shutting down in less than 1 month. So hopefully we can get some more information for you out of Google, and if not in that time frame, then at least we can join in the wait list for the new option and continue hammering away. Again, write to Javier on Twitter, email him if you can find his email. Do we have his email? I don't think so. We might. We'll have to check.
Twitter.
Make some noise.
Let's just use Twitter. Let's use Twitter.
Twitter's probably the best way to do it.
He
actually responds to Twitter, so he's listening, he's watching. Go and make some noise, folks.
I think we should get a main tweet going and then post it to all these Reddit communities.
Rescue.
And get people to comment on it, and then see if we
rescue G Suite Legacy.
Yes, something like that, or please come on and talk about it.
Yeah, something. Give us answers. I don't know. We'll get with marketing and we'll get back to you and let you know what hashtag to rally behind. Do some thinking on that one. I should be sleeping later on. Anyway, that's all for this week, folks. Send us your questions and comments on Twitter, Workspace Recap, or on our website, workspacerecap.com. Hit the subscribe button on wherever you are listening or watching. Hit the like button on YouTube, and make sure to subscribe to our channel so that you can get the alerts for when we post new videos, as well as the live event coming up next week. Leave us a review or a comment if you're on YouTube, and have a great week, and we'll see you next time on Workspace Recap.